Hey, Gutfoxx here. So, you've got some stubs left over after assembling your team, whether it be, with a bunch of nice silvers, golds. You can take a look at my budget beast videos. I'll link in the description to kind of get you to a certain spot with those overalls, right? Your pitching staff, you're fairly comfortable with, and you're looking to kind of upgrade, right? You've grinded for, I don't know, 100. People have asked me 150, 250,000 stubs they have as they've really grinded hard. You can really finish some programs, first inning, the BR grind, the event grind, that kind of stuff. And after some stuff, what cards should you get? And that's kind of like this whole video and the strategy around that, what you should do going forward after, like, maybe you progress past that first part of, grinding moments, grinding conquest, that kind of stuff. So there's two strategies that you can kind of proceed with, right? You can either go through the collections and start doing like the live series collection to try and get Chipper Jones, Alfonso Soriano, David Ortiz, like that kind of way up to do those. Or you can kind of stick with just getting guys off the market and kind of stay as they bring in new cards, basically twice a week. You can go here to the schedule, and we got some more cards coming, a new legend coming on the 27th, so you can kind of play those as those go around. But when you look at it, Soriano's like an end game second baseman, outfielder, and Chipper's a end game third baseman there, so you can kind of grind to those. So I'll go with both of them. I'll do the collection path first, and this is on you. I'll talk maybe at the end what I think is better to do in which direction, but right again. All right, so collections. Which collection should you do first if you're going to do the live series? I think personally the NL collection is superior to the AL collection. Soriano is, I think, significantly better than Ortiz just because he plays the harder to, those positions that are harder to get. I mean, his attributes are amazing too. Ortiz smacks the ball, but he's just a first baseman, right? There's a ton of great first basemen in the game. Soriano has everything you want, fielding, speed-wise also. So he's much more versatile, of course. Depends if you like righty or lefty bats, but Soriano is a beast right there. The NL also has the best pitcher in the game right now in Glavine. And speaking of Glavine, I do think if you're going to start with these things, whether you want to do, maybe you do want to go to Big Papi, maybe you're a big fan of him, you want to chase AL first. I think the first collection, neither one of them, is NL East and AL East. You want to start in the East and finish off those collections first because I feel like that you get the best cards possible. This D. Gordon is freaking amazing at second base in the NL East. Andrew Jones is a very good outfielder. Franco is a solid reliever, lefty coming with that from that side of the ball with a solid sinker. The screwball, it does have some pretty good break along with the circle change there. Roy Oswald, I think, is a solid piece. I haven't really used him this year, but last year he had a very good card, but this one's a little bit worse than last year's cards on the per nines, at least early on. But I think I don't mind any card with the sinker. And then Zimmerman, I think, is a solid player himself. Good contact versus lefty, good power, and contact versus righty. So a solid piece for your team too. So I think the NL East is the best of them if you're gonna go. So after that point, you're like, okay, well, I did the NL East. Now you got to finish off the NL. You want to start with one whole side of it and then go to the other one. So then after the NL East, I would go ahead and work on the NL West and try and complete this one. You got Gagne, who's a solid player right here. Hoffman, like none of these are like super amazing top of the meta players, but I think they're better than the NL Central in their collection of players. Musial's cool, but I really don't appreciate a first baseman with a little too little power. Doesn't have a whole lot of speed there either. Yount isn't impressive. Wood's solid, nothing crazy. Dunn is a very good bat right there. And he only plays the outfield though. 55 speed, doesn't have a lot of reaction out there, so it's kind of a hole in the outfield. And then we see Ralph Kiner here, who is just absolute. I guess he's fine for a bench bat. So that's how I'd go in the NL to finish off Soriano. In the AL, I would, like I said, start with AL East, then move to AL Central. You get Konerko here, who's a very solid card. Puckett again in the outfield. He's a new legend. Doesn't really have the greatest attributes there for an outfielder. A little slow in my opinion right there, but that it is. Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee, I feel like slightly underrated. He's not like the hardest guy to hit, but I do feel like he's got a decent pitch mix there with the circle change cutter on him. And then the two seam, maybe some arm side run on that. And then Irod, good defensive backstop, but with the stick isn't anything impressive. So you run through the Central, and then you finish off with the most expensive AL West. Tananana, this guy. If you get Mike Trout, do the AL West, right? If you get Mike Trout, AL West is amazing. It's just the most expensive one. Maybe it's worth finishing second, but I think after Frank here, a lot of these cards, like accuracy just gets lit up by me by lefties, but he's death to righties, it feels like. So his accuracy is very like, he's weird. The fact that like he's dominant against one side, but like the other side, he's a Rugi. Right-handed, one out guy, but there it is. Pineda's a solid starter, and then we got Bly11, who's whatever. Not terrible. So that's how I'd go to complete Chipper. Now that's that path, okay? In that order. So after that, the other option I said was, all right, don't do collections, just buy cards that come out this year. So what are the cards that you want to buy, right? If you got your stack and maybe you don't want to do those collections, don't want to go after Chipper or Soriano or anything like that, I think once you're kind of set there, I think you want to focus on your batters first before your pitchers, because you're going to need 5 solid pitchers. So maybe getting those up to like the gold level, maybe low level, if you really want to get decent pitchers with some decent pitch mix. He's still at the 2-seamer this year instead of the sinker. Somebody said they switched him over to sinker, but they did not. So I would definitely focus on having a solid starter reliever core at like the golds, because like there's some very solid, like Chapman Silver is still very good, right? There's still very good gold relievers, silver cards too there. So overall, if I were to work on those, like I said, it would be the fielders. So what fielders should you get? Not just Prince fielders, but what fielders overall? Okay, I think the number one card, and I've mentioned this a few times if you guys have been watching the video on them, the number one card you get right away to really improve your bench, or sorry, your batting, is this Juan Soto card. 38,000 stubs for him right now. He's gone down a little bit in price. I'm hitting 527 with him, OPSing 1900. Now a lot of that's events, but there's some ranked seasons in there too. 74 at bats, 79 plate appearances, and he's hitting 527. So an absolute stud right there from the left side. Not the greatest fielder, but you know, it is what it is. I wouldn't be too mad with him. The other cards we can kind of go through. Maybe we can go through them like unfiltered a little bit and kind of go like, obviously you can afford Mike Trout. You try and get a Mike Trout versus you know, the other option is rounding out your bench a little bit more. Kendall's a very solid catcher, but I definitely think, like I talked about in my budget video, the catcher you really want. Well, you got to make sure to get. I think the 2 guys that are needed on basically every squad in this game are this Mercedes card, absolutely 100% a need card, and then this McMahon card right here. Just put him on your squad and forget about those positions, right? And then you get Albert Pujols, I guess, at first base. You can throw him there. McMahon, I mean, McMahon's weird because I know Pujols, if you finish that conquest, your grind for him is really nice. McMahon's weird. You can play him at second base, but 32 speed there. I'm a little bit nervous at that spot. But say McMahon and Pujols in your corners, and then Yerman behind the plate, Soto in left field. And then you have basically the middle infield to go. So middle infield is like I talked about that D. Gordon. It's not a bad idea to finish off that set. But I really kind of like Ozzie Albies. Wow, I can't even speak right now. Ozzie Albies as a switch hitting second baseman's done well for me. But otherwise, you know, there isn't really anything at second base that you kind of want to splurge on. You kind of just, that's just a position to kind of be there, put it near the back of the end of the order. I think if you're going to go high-end shortstop, I don't even know if I'd like, would I go with Wander? Yeah, maybe. Would I spend my stubs on Wander over maybe like a top end center field or a right field? Dang, that's a really good question. I think I'd rather go up to like, if I've spent a lot, maybe spend on a guy that I know I'm going to have for a while. But it's not like ideal to spend 100,000 stubs on like a Bellinger or a Acuna right now when they're going to be bringing out with new legends in a few days. They could potentially like they're okay. Here's the thing: they could potentially keep these stub amounts for a while, but you want to have your stubs locked up in these cards if they come out with a new awesome power hitting center fielder, right fielder, that kind of stuff. But like I definitely think this JD Martinez card, if you're okay with slow corner outfielders, maybe you're playing like a smaller park, maybe you're like in Ship It or something, then you go JD and right and Soto and left, and then like your center fielder maybe get somebody fast in center field to kind of cover for them in the gaps a little bit. Maybe that's not a bad idea, because I think this JD Martinez card is a great card to spend stubs on. This guy just hammers the ball with you can. Otherwise, Harper's got a very sweet swing. I really do enjoy him. Another card, if you end up throwing like McMahon at second base, spending on this Freddie Freeman card is not a bad idea. Like this guy, I think it's because of his quirks. This guy's insane, hitting 633 for me. I mean, he's only 30 at bats, whatever. But when you look at his quirks, basically, he hits like situationally. He hits dead red, which means excels at hitting fastball, which means he gets attributes boosts for fastballs, and he gets attribute boosts for breaking balls. So like every single pitch that's thrown to him, you look at his attributes like, oh, those attributes are okay. Sure, he's playing up on inside edge, but he's gonna get boosts because of those quirks. And we don't exactly know the exact quirk boost to them, but there's something going on with Freeman where I think he just does well because of those quirks. Any pitch thrown to Freeman, he's getting a boost on. So Freddie Freeman, if you decide to put McMahon at second base, like I said, and Pujols at third and Soto in the outfield, Freeman is an absolute slugger. I love this card too. He's got a really nice swing, and those quirks help boost him. But otherwise, there you go. Maybe center field can be a fast guy for you, where you save a little bit of Stubs and go sacrifice a little bit of the power, a little bit more speed. Dominguez is a really nice card right here with 94 speed in the outfield. You might have too many lefties on your bench, so you might want to go like I don't know. He's a little slow. I don't know if y'all want like a really slow outfield by going Mark here, but Mark's got really nice power versus righty. Yeah, go ahead and splurge on Acuna, and then the rest of that roster, like I talked about. Otherwise, Billy Hamilton, he'll be your leadoff hitter, and he'll do very well for you there. I don't mind that if you're gonna go Soto and I totally blanked. Soto and Martinez in right field. Get Billy Hamilton for center at 40K. So that's how I'd spend my Stubs personally. Now, what do I think is the best thing to do? Should you lock in Stubs for this collection reward? I did, so it's hard to say not to, but of course I spent money on the game to get these things done for content. So I think this is like the first, like last year you wanted Mantle no matter what. He was the best center fielder in the game, end game, best player I've ever used in Diamond Dynasty, switch hitting, that kind of speed. He was like Soriano but switch hitter, which is, significantly better. So dang, that's a tough decision. I think I think it's not a bad goal to go after the live series with Chipper, be able to lock down your third base long term. But just waiting week to week and upgrading the cards and not worrying about the live series and just getting a very good squad if you want to play ranked right away, but just using the marketplace, use the Stubs on, that might be the way forward. Just kind of go as they bring out content and see what kind of new cards coming out. Because Billy Hamilton, for how decent he is out there, 40K. It's not terrible. And then Rutschman right there behind the plate is a very solid card too. It wouldn't be a bad one to spend Stubs on if you're not going to do the collections for Posada. So that's my opinion. Sorry, I had to qualify it quite a bit. I don't want to make a definitive thing because so many people have so many different options and things they want to do and things they want to accomplish in this game. They might be playing this game all year, so maybe they want to go with the live series collection to finish that off. Some people are only playing this game for a couple of months before summer happens and it's hot boy summer and they're out all the time. I don't know. So think about how long you're going to be playing the game if you want to go with the big live series collection or not. That's the video. That's my opinion on what to go for, at least, with the live series collection and buying cards and the ones to get right away as the studs. Thanks for watching Call to Action. Please like the video. Dislike it if you didn't like it. Otherwise, subscribe, please, and I will see you tomorrow.